Hello everyone, welcome to our sort of spine release routine seminar in here. We've been sheltering in place for about 4 weeks almost now, and I know that some of you are complaining about lower back pain, probably some neck pain, some thoracic, shoulders maybe. Anyway, we're going to try to do a little routine here that lasts hopefully under 15 minutes, trying to release that lower back. And one thing that we need to know is that the lower back is a joint that needs stability, so it doesn't move very much. A little bit as we walk and do stuff, but usually it needs to be nice and stable. And that's why we work on our core to kind of stabilize that lower back, which is the foundation of your body, okay? Also, if you really have a bad accident and then you got to go to have surgery, the doctor can insert a rod in there and put some pins in and really keep it from moving very much, okay? Which means that the joint above, which is your thoracic spine and your cervical spine, and the joint below, which is your hip, they need a lot of mobility, okay? And because we're sitting down a lot, we lose that mobility into our hips and into our thoracic spine, and that creates a lot of problem from the lower back because it starts to move a little too much, so the body's gonna kind of seize up all the muscles around it to kind of keep it from moving, and then you feel like, it's so tight. All we need to do is just kind of release the joints above and below, okay? So for that, we're gonna start with the foam roller. So we need a foam roller and a little chair that I have here. So first, what we're going to do, we're going to try to release your thoracic spine by foam rolling the spine first. As you know, I like to roll first because by rolling you bring a lot of muscle and you make, I'm sorry, a lot of muscle. By foam rolling, you bring a lot of blood, so then the muscle gets a little more juicy, so you can actually become a little more malleable, so we can stretch a little bit better. So let's foam roll first and then stretch second. Okay, so we start with rolling your upper spine. Start from the bottom of your thoracic, bottom of your thorax, which is the lower part of your ribcage, and then you slowly kind of move up and try to slowly push each vertebrae and disc back into the spine. So take one vertebrae at a time and slowly roll. Keep your hips up using your abs, glutes, and hamstrings, okay? And just kind of go up and down nice and slowly about 3 times. You can do a little rotation if you want to. You want to just kind of put a little more pressure on one side, but about 3 times up and down nice and slowly. Last one, kind of put your neck on it. Let gravity kind of push into your cervical spine, and then slowly see if you can rotate your head, if you can, all the way around. If you can only do this much, that's good enough. It's a little massage of your neck. Let it kind of fall down a little bit. Put a little bit of extension in that cervical spine. After we've done that, we're going to turn around and we're going to have to roll our lats, okay? Lats, also proper name, latissimus dorsi, which means the biggest muscle of your back. Really strong. They start from your shoulder, they go all the way into your lower back via lumbar fascia. So if we release the lats, we can actually give your lower back a little less pain. So the idea is to roll your lats nice and slowly, and when you find a tender spot, then you kind of roll over it back and forth. If you want, and you can, move your arm also right above your shoulder and then forward, back and up like this. If your lats are really tight, you're going to bend your elbows and you're going to be able to extend your arm completely, and you got to work on it until you can do that, okay? And then of course we go to the other side. Same idea. Roll the muscle up and down all the way under your armpit. If you feel a nice little tender spot, then you're going to roll over it back and forth, try to break that knot, right? Move your arm and down, which is really good. This position, it's a really stress position for the lat, and when you apply pressure on it and roll it, you can really, really release those knots, okay? Great. After we've done that, now that we've got our spine nice and warm and malleable, now we're going to stretch it a little bit, okay? So we're going to go down on the side. We're going to put the knee and foot up on top of the foam roller. Try to keep a 90-degree angle into your hip, knee, and ankle. And then we're going to close the book. and then slowly turn around and open the book. And at the beginning, you might not be able to rotate all the way, but the idea is to try to keep your knee down and your foot down while you're rotating, and try to bring the opposite shoulder down on the floor, okay? So focus on your shoulder coming down on the floor, not necessarily just your hand, because a lot of people are just gonna touch it with their fingers. But you want a nice and slow rotation, allowing gravity to kind of take over a little bit. Don't force too much. And we're gonna do 10. Put your head down, rotate, keep the knee down on the foam roller, and then hand and shoulder down, okay? So we've done 10 of those, which feel really good on your spine because you are really stretching that thoracic spine, which is gonna release it and turn your lower back. I'm gonna go the other way, the other side. Same idea. Open it up, make sure that the knee stays on the foam roller. The first ones might be a little tight, but as you do more and more, you get that release into your thoracic, and you can hopefully go all the way down. If you can't, that's fine. This is where you are. Hopefully doing this a few times over the next few weeks, you can get a little better, okay? All right, and that takes care a little bit of our upper thoracic spine. One thing that I want to do before I move to the lower spine is to continue to move a little bit and stretch our lats. So we're going to do a swimmer stretch also. Again, nice and wide on your knees, nice and wide with your arms, wider than your shoulders, okay? And then you're just going to roll forward and try to bring your shoulders down below the foam roller, okay? So really reaching down with your sternum, arch your lower back, not too much, but don't round, right? You want to arch because you want to stretch those lats. This is called a swimmer stretch. The swimmers use a lot of their lats. If you want to continue the stretch, you can do one arm at a time individually. This is actually even a deeper stretch. So you can move forward and then move a little further forward and really push down that shoulder into the floor. And it's a really great stretch. A little rotation in the spine also. Love this one. All right, after we've done this, then we're gonna go and we're gonna do our crazy cat, right? So we're gonna try to mobilize now your thoracic spine. So we're gonna round our backs as much as we can by drawing our abs in and breathing out. And then a slight little arch back into extension. If you are pretty good, you can extend a little more and get a big arch, but I just kind of like to go to a neutral spine, a little extension, that's good enough for me. And then round and get up and bring that sternum and your navel towards your spine, okay? Breathe out here, inhale here, breathe out as you round. And you can do about 10 of these, okay? All right, after we're done with that, we move a little bit down to the lower spine. So we're gonna go on lumbar spine. We're gonna take our foam roller and we're gonna slowly lie down on it, put it right on your lower back. And just relax here for a second. Again, allow the gravity to kind of do its thing, like slowly moving into your spine through the foam roller, okay? So just kind of hold it here for a while. You can do a little bit of shifting left and right, a little rotation if you want. It feels pretty good. Don't let your belly just sort of pop out. Just kind of use your abs a little bit. All right, and then we're going to place it under your first lumbar vertebrae, all right? So, doing that, lifting the knees off the floor, grabbing the foam roller with your arms so your shoulders don't rotate, and then we're gonna slowly rotate your hips, right? And you're gonna know where the first lumbar spine is, L1, because if you do a little above it, it's really gonna hurt because you don't have any support on that lower part of your thoracic spine. So that's T10, 11, 12. So you're gonna feel that just like not a lot of support. So just move up and down the spine a little bit and go to that L1. And you're gonna do 3 nice little rotations. See if you can fully rotate your hips until your thigh touches the roller, right? If you can't go that far, that's fine. Just do half of that, still good enough. 3 times, then move to the next one. Go L1, L2, do 3 rotation. You guys, understand the whole thing here. Then you move down to 3 and 4. You do the same thing, nice and slowly. Good. Then move down to L5, sacrum 1, S1, and you do the same thing. This should feel pretty good. So now we have rotated our spine quite a lot. It feels pretty good. That means that we have sort of released our thoracic, okay, and cervical. So now we should move to the hips. In order to do that, same idea, same protocol. I'm going to start with foam rolling first. So we get the roller. I'm going to sit on it. Let's take our left foot up onto your right knee, and then slowly roll your, these are called external rotators, piriformis mainly. You got to go all the way to the top of your hip, which is a bone called ilium. So the top of it is called the spine of the ilium. So you go all the way to the top and then come down nice and slowly, sort of like the head of the femur gets into the bone and into the bone, and you roll all the way there, up and down, right, both sides, and we're rolling, we're releasing those muscles because then we're going to stretch them, right? So rolling these guys, and you can go, if you want to be even more thorough, you can get on the side of your hip, and we can do a little bit of motion into the hip as we put a little weight on it. And these muscles are your gluteus medius, minimus, and the TFL, tensor fasciae latae, which eventually turns into IT band, okay? So we're releasing that guy, good. And then, of course, those sides, don't forget, back down in here onto your hips, and then a little motion to kind of stretch the muscle and apply pressure. This is sort of called active release technique, just moving the joint while you apply pressure to release the muscle, okay? After we're done that, then we're going to start working on our pigeon. First, we want to do the mermaid, which is just a modified version of the pigeon. You get this as a mermaid. You're going to hold this for about 3 seconds, hands off, and then you slowly rotate onto your hips and go on the other side. Hold this for 3 seconds, and you slowly open your legs a little further as you go. Right? Instead of being here with your knee, you can be back a little bit with your knee. Keep the body upright, nice and tall. Push down into your knees. And let's say you're going to do 10 of these, right? The mermaid. Modified version of the pigeon. And then we're going to work on the pigeon. Now the pigeon kind of looks like this. You're going to see a lot of people doing a pigeon. Foot back in here, and then just go like this. That's not really a pigeon. You're only stretching a little bit your glutes, but you're not really getting into your hips. In order to get into your hips, what you want to make sure is that your ankle and your knee are in the same line, okay? And your hips are square to your shoulders. So you don't want to be here rotating your hips. You want to rotate your hips down and allow gravity to kind of take over and bring your hips down. So I don't want you to kind of lean forward. I want you to kind of sit up nice and tall and nice and easy. Let gravity take over. Don't force anything, right? Tall spine, tall spine. If you can't do this because it's too much, then you take the foam roller, put it to the side here, and you get in the same position, but now the knee is resting on the foam roller, and that's a pretty good help. And you can actually feel a pretty good release, making sure you stay in the same tall position, chest up, abs in, and really feel the stretch into your hips, not necessarily into your glute max, okay? So we do that, and you gotta hold it for minimum 30 seconds, okay? And now I'm gonna do my right side. Let's say I can't go all the way down. Put my knee down, ankle and my knee in the same line. Now I'll lift my body up. I turn my hip forward, look up, tall spine, and kind of hold it here for about 30 seconds to a minute. This is one of the most important stretches when it comes to releasing the lower back, because this really gets the hip mobile, okay? So after we release the back of the hip, I'm going to finish up with stretching our hip flexors. So for that, I'm going to get the little chair, put it down in here, right? I'm going to get the foam roller to help. And let's say I'm going to start on my left so you can see it. I'm going to try to get my knee as close to the chair as possible. My hand in front to kind of get a little help, and then keep my body upright. I don't want to arch too much because that puts pressure onto my lower spine. I just want to be nice and tall, shoulders down, long neck, right? You don't want to be here, you want to be down here, and you want to push your hips away from your heel. So keep moving forward. Allow the front knee to move in front of the ankle, straight arms in front of you. I'm going to hold this for 30 seconds. Let's say it's been 30 seconds. Now, to continue to stretch, I'm going to raise my arm above my head, the same side that I'm stretching, to continue to stretch even more. At this point, I want you to squeeze your left glute. Really feel a bigger stretch in front of your left hip. It's called reciprocal inhibition. When you contract the muscle, the opposite, it's going to stretch even more, right? So we're going to hold this in here. Squeeze the glute for 10 seconds and draw your abs in and be nice and tall. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's good. Stay here for a second. If you want to go even into a bigger stretch, then let's bring our arms with the foam roller over our head and hold this for another 15 seconds. And now it's been more than a minute. You're really going to feel the stretch going all the way down into your knee, okay? And then you get up, kind of walk around a little bit. And you're going to feel that the left is feeling a lot better than the right. It's a little easier to walk on and it feels light. And then we're going to stretch the right once again. Try to get your knee as close to your chair. If your knee hurts a little bit, grab a pillow, folded towel, just put it down on your knee, it should be fine, okay? And then get a good stance in here, allow you to keep your body upright, and then start kind of moving forward. So move your hip away from your heel, right? Shoulders down, tall spine, hold it here, and you feel like, okay, this is a good stretch. Now I'm just going to stay here, knees in front of my ankle. I'm going to try to have a sort of like a straight line from my knee to my hip to my shoulder, right? So holding this in here for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, I'm going to get my right hand up and continue to push forward even more. And then I'm going to squeeze my right glute, draw my abs in, tall spine, really feel that stretch in front of your hip. That's a very important stretch. Hip flexor complex stretch, very important stretch. Hold this up. Then I'm going to go even bigger. Bring both arms over your head, hold this guy up and lean forward even more. Create that space between your glute and your heel. Hold it here, baby, at least a minute. Otherwise, it's going to go back to the beginning. All right? And that is it. So, rolling the spine first, then stretching it by rotating it, rolling your hips first, and then stretching them with the pigeon, the modified version, which is called mermaid. And at the end, finish with a big, long stretch of your hip flexor complex. Hopefully, this will give your lower back a little release and put a smile on your face. Once again, if you think that this is good enough, please share this and with all your friends, especially if they have any low back problems, okay? Let's see. Oh my God, that's 19 minutes. All right, I didn't keep it on the 15, but I apologize. But I think it's gonna be all right. Okay, stay safe, and I'll see you next week, I guess. Ciao.